Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emilio and I'm making a movie. I found out personally, I was trying to gather in some info. When you try to look into screenwriting, you may get too much info that doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. Unapata tu kivideo kimesema, oh, format as a pro and everything. But this is a guide for a beginner. If it's your first time or if you are interested in writing a movie, this is your guide. So we're going to talk about screenplay from story to the format and everything. And yeah, like, subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any video in this series and this journey of me making a movie as a beginner. Let's go. So when writing a screenplay, there are so many factors that you have to consider as you write it. Ideally, a script for a movie needs to have a lot of things for it to be short. It needs to be able to communicate to a number of people: the cast, the director, the people who are prepping the location and everything. What you need as a person who's writing the story, what is needed for the story. So they're going to focus on two things majorly. The two major things I think for a beginner are essential. So one, the story itself, the aspects that come up with the story and things are kind of important within the story, and two, the format. So let's talk about story. So what is a story? A story ideally is the events or the decisions and consequences of your characters. So ideally, a story is following what characters do. And for a good story, there are a number of questions you need to ask yourself for you to know, am I doing a good story? So one, who is the character? What do they want? Why do they want it? Why can't they get what they want? What do they do about it? And do they get it at the end or do they not get it at the end? Like those two last questions are one. So this is the question of why are you writing the story? Ideally, why is this story worth telling? So these questions allow you to form the story and form the lesson and everything. See? So the next part is story structure. What is story structure? Story structure is the sequence of events within your story. How you're going to plan what the character does and how you're going to link them up to show decision and consequence. Again, that's the basics of a story. So there are so many story structures. I'm going to focus on two. I'm going to focus on two because those are the two well known and one of them is best for a beginner. So which one are the two? There's the Dan Harmon story circle and there's the 3-act story structure. So what is the Dan Harmon story circle? The Dan Harmon story circle is a simplified version of the hero's journey. What is the circle? Again, let me notes. Notes. These ones are tricky. I couldn't shika easy. So the Dan Harmon story circle. So we need you or the character. That's the first one. Need. What gives them the need to go somewhere? Go, the actual going, the actual decision to now go for what they need, and then the search of what they need, the finding of whatever they need, and then they take what they need, they return to where they were, and then they return changed. So I'm going to give a small example, quote unquote, of this circle. So character, let's randomly Dan. Dan. Dan Harmon's Dan. So Dan needs water. So he decides to go to get water. So Dan is a character. The need is water. The go is he decides to wake up and goes for water. And during the journey, he trips, anajigonga kidole or something, sindio? And he learns pain and everything. And then he finds the water. Fungua tap, anaeka maji, anakunywa. So he takes the water, returns. Anarudi kwa kiti, quenched because alikuwa anahitaji maji and then amerudi akiwa sawa. You see, sequence of events. That's what happens. So the Dan Harmon circle ideally is a really simplified take on the hero's journey. Personally, as a beginner, I wouldn't advise you to do the Dan Harmon's story structure because for you, you are not able to focus on every single character. Since a movie has different characters, a number of different characters, applying the Dan Harmon story structure on your movie needs you to apply that structure on every single character who's of importance or who's a main character. And being able to do that can be really hard and time consuming. That's why personally I didn't use it for this, but it's one of the most used. Actually, if I was doing a bigger film, I would actually do it. The second structure most people usually use is the 3-act structure. Sorry. 3-act structure is ideally 3 acts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So again, I'm going to read my notes. Ni ngumu kushika kwa kichwa. So, 3-act structure. So we have Act 1. In Act 1, we have the intro, the inciting incident, what causes the incident or what causes the story to begin, the first plot point. So in this act, we have the intro. You're introduced to a character. Let's say Michael. No. The inciting incident is Michael falls. And then the first plot point is Michael is going to the hospital. See? That's an inciting incident. Now, the act 1 of any story, it's really simple. It's really it's come and go, ni haraka tumalizane na hii story. Then we go to Act 2. So Act 2, we have 3 points: escalating conflict, midpoint, and plot point 2. Now, so tuko na Mike alianguka, and then plot point ni anaenda house, si ndio? So escalating conflict, akiwa kwa njia, matatu inasimamishwa, wanaambiwa watoke na askari, si ndio? So midpoint ni akiwa stranded. And then plot point 2 ni anafaa kufika hosi before hii mguu inavunjika, ikuwe infected na ikuwe imebidi ameamputitiwa. See? Plot point 2. Act 2 is usually one of the longest acts because it holds a majority of what happens within your story. So for example, my film is 30 minutes. My Act 1 is going to be around 10 minutes, venye nimepanga, and then my Act 2 is going to be 15 minutes, and then my Act 3 is going to be 5 minutes. You see, like, inaenda hivyo, your Act 2 has to be the biggest part of it all. Act 3. So, after crisis, and then there's final climax, and then outcome. So the crisis is here for, in our example, Mike is amekwama, ako kwa barabara, mguu imeumia na akikosa kufika on time or itakuwa infected and everything na atakuwa ampetiwa. So hapo ndio plot point 2 iko, hapo ndio tuko tense. Then after crisis, sasa kuna gari inakuja inampatia nini inaitwa aje, ride, inamfikisha. And sasa the final climax ni unaweza 5 minutes unaonanga kutaendeleaje. So unaona amefika sasa ER, amekimbizwa 5 minutes, if it happens now, and then ni hiyo time mumeaka, will it happen? So for example, in this sense, Mike ako kwa hosi amelala hapo, madaktari wengi, nurse kadhaa wanamweka nini you like, kuna hiki sense kia urgency, you're like, will it happen, will it not happen, will the leg go away and everything, and then climax mna cut to akuwe saved, mguu yake iko sawa and he's set and he's good to go. You see, it's very act 3 is very, the reason it's short, it's because iko hapo heightened. You need to make it sharp, so you need to fix a lot of emotion in a short period of time, because you took time to reach somewhere. Now Act 3 is filling the rest of the emotions in a small place for you to be impacted as the audience. That's Act 3. Now, personally, as a beginner, I think this is the best thing for a beginner. Anyone who's writing, I'm going to use it. Why do I think so? First of all, it is really easy to understand and really easy to break down your story points. You can weave in your characters very well, all of them at once. You don't have to focus on one or the other. And you can do it very organically. It doesn't have to be kitu umefikiria sana. Sindio? Good. Then, personally, I guess, at least it teaches you how to break down your story. I've written short stories and I've written comics, and it is vastly different from how you usually do it. Like normally, it is so different, you don't understand. And this allows you to understand how to screenplay well. It gives you that edge. By the time unafika kina Dan Hammond, you know more about how to write a story. So that is story structure. Story structure is really integral when you're writing a story because it gives you a framework of how you're going to work. So next part is script formatting, and this is going to take these are big ones. So why do scripts have formats ideally? Ni kama tu venye documents za campus huko na format, APA hizo vitu zote. Why do scripts have formats? Remember, as I said in the beginning of the video, scripts go through a lot of people. So it will go through your producer, if let's say you're a writer, producer, your director, assistant director, camera person, costume costume nini department, all those people. And it having a format allows all those people to be able to understand the story and what they need to do to contribute to the story, right? Good. So that's why scripts have formats. For example, if you're a beginner, you'll do almost everything yourself, I know. But in more bigger productions, an assistant director anakaanga chini, anaangalia your script, so the script in question, ana break down the script, so anaangalianga anaona, because in the script usually kuna specifics unakuanga nazo. So for example, kama kuna gari in your script, so assistant director anakaanga vichini, ana break down, anasema okay, hapa amesema anataka Mercedes GLE, anataka gari kubwa. Anasema okay, sawa, iweka hapo kando. So huwa na note down everything you need, and sana communicate costume, iende kwa nini set design au watu wote, you see. So having a format allows, smooth flow between everyone in the set. Now, format, acha nichukue ka notebook tena because yote siwezi shika, though I'll have pictures. I was to do my own script but sijamaliza. Writing this thing is hard, but sijamaliza. I think I'll be done this week. Anyways, so there are certain elements that are basic, ideally. Sawa. What are some of these elements? Tuanze na ya kwanza. The font. It's a 12-point carrier font. Inakaa typewriter. The reason we do this is because ndio ilianza, instead of mwanza kuchange ma fonts, ndio inaendeleanga. 12-point carrier font. Ilitoka from the typewriter. That's, if you have a typewriter and you type, actually if you have a typewriter, everything will be in script form. Ideally, this is how things were written in script and everything. Nice? Good. Now, they are monospaced. Mono, one. Spacing between letters and nini ni moja. Sindio? Now, but, okay, margin. When it comes to the margins, on the left side of the page, it is 1.5 inches from the margin, like from the end of the paper. And then on the rest, top, down, and right side, ni 1 inches. So, if you have Word, unajuanga kufanya hizo changes and everything. If you're going to use software, it's going to be preset. But as a beginner, mimi nilishinda kutumia software. I have tried. I've tried. Kwanza Celtics. Okay, maybe ni lapi yangu, I don't know, but I tried using software. It's really hard to understand it using software, personally, I think. But I'll try it again. I have another competition I want to enter for another screenplay. This is 90 pages. I need to use a software. I cannot use Word for 90 pages. I cannot. Then each page should be numbered on the top right corner. Those are the basics. Now I want to get into a script, into withins. What do A, B, C, D mean? So now, when you're doing a script, the first thing you'll do is, okay, the cover page, I'll put one. It's just centered. It's usually your story, by, and then you usually put your details like phone number, address in the right bottom corner, ideally. Hapo ndio unaekanga your details. But that's not as important. Now, to the script itself hapo chini. First thing you usually see is a slag line, or quote unquote where the scene is happening. What is a slag line ideally? Unaona pale na wao imeandikwa exit interior exterior, sorry, see exit interior exterior location hivyo. Nitaweka picha mtaona ideally. So at this point, what the slag line communicates is the location and time. So for example, EXT means exterior, ENT means interior. So interior and where is the location, and then time is morning, evening, midday, midnight, in the middle of the night, so for example, exterior dot forest morning. In a script, I'm using the name. I'm using The Whale, the one that won best actor last year but won Oscars. I have that script. I'm going to do screenshots here and there and then show you such things. So that's the slag line, right? Okay. Now we go to action. Action nakuanga by the margin, and usually in the present tense, because you're describing it as it's happening, because okay, it's the present tense. Even when you're writing a book, ideally most of the time the action is in the present tense. Taonyesha an example of it. It's very haina story mingi. Now, the character. Each time you're introducing a character, one, you introduce them in full capital letters if you're introducing them for the first time in the action scene. Then two, each time they're speaking, as you center, most of the conversation is usually centered in a script. Each time they're speaking, each time they're speaking, their name is in a cap, and then what you're saying is under them. It's indented 3.7 inches, but ideally I think if you center your word, it will be before we understand 3.7 iko wapi iko indent, na lazima uweke kabisa margin. It's tricky, and you're a beginner. Chances are high you're doing this for yourself. Maybe you're the writer and director like I am, so chances are high you'll understand a majority of it. We're going to go to transitions first. Now, what is transition? When you're in a movie, cut to. You see, unaona kwa this when you do TikTok and everything, unaona na hiyo transitions hizo ni transitions. How do you write transitions in your script? Because you have to write them. Cut tos. So usually written ideally on the right. Sasa it's completely on the side. Mutaona picha. So it's the right side of a page using a colon. So for example, cut to, dissolve to, match cut to, and intercut. So these are different types of cutting or transitions from A to B, like screen. You're trying to control what people are seeing. So these are examples. I'm going to give you an example from the movie and you'll see. From the script I'm sourcing and you'll see. Sawa. Parentheticals, rather. Hiyo nimesema vibaya. Parenthetical is ideally how the word is said. How the dialogue is said, sorry. So under the name, kuna kuanga na hapo chini utaweka in parentheses, tule to brackets. Brackets. Mnazijua ka brackets. So for example, it'll be like John slyly, in a sly way, or as loud as B, and then what he's saying. That's where you put hizo vitu zote. Now this way I'm going to add the extensions. So the extensions also in brackets, but they are next to the name. So for example, John, and then next to it, semanga off screen, it's a voiceover. On the phone, if they're talking on the phone, hizo vitu zote. Nice. So these are basics. Ideally, I got this from Studio Binder, Historia format. I'm going to link the video. I've not explained it well, but the video does it better. So when it comes to screenplay, as I've said, those two things are really important: your story and the script format. And that was just basics, in my opinion. It's really good for you to understand this early enough. At the very least, ataka utashika kila kitu ndio, since you're entering the industry, once ushike kiasi, as you continue, maybe you get a job here, unajipata umekuwa assistant director, and then ukiwa umekaa hapo chini, you will get why the format is good, or get to understand and read a lot of scripts. Now, if you're writing a script, what are some of the tips? Some tips I will give anyone that personally I've been doing. 1, read as many scripts as you can. And if you are able to, read the script as you watch the movie. Read the script as you watch the movie. Ideally, it gives you that feeling of, oh, okay, now I see what they mean when they do ABCD every day. I've watched The Whale, that's why I have the script of it. I have a number of scripts, by the way. If you're interested, comment below. I'll create a Google Drive, and then put the link later on. No. If you're interested, naweza weka hapo and then watu wakose kutumia, but I'll create it. Comment below, by the way. Comment scripts. Just comment. Comment resources. Comment resources, and then I'll create everything and put it there. So the first thing, and the biggest tip I'll give you is read as many scripts as you can. 2, watch movies, and remember, the first draft will always be iffy. It will always be weird. It will always have some, I don't feel this is right. That doesn't mean you don't write it. Write the first draft. But then from there, go share it with different people so they can give you tips hapa na pale. You see? And those are the 3 main tips. Read scripts, write them, and when you're doing your first draft, understand it will not always be good. Share it and then do the changes here and there, everything, and it will be good. Thank you for watching. This is going to be a long video. Oh God, I can't imagine the editing. I'm not doing the editing. God. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and also comment. Comment any question, because next we're going to do budgeting. I'm telling you. Hey. Hiyo ndio inashtuanga watu. I'll do a video on that. That one's going to be shorter because it's a basic budget. It's for beginners. I'm not going to do a complicated budget because for big productions they're complicated. So thank you for watching. Tuonane next week, and yeah, have a blessed week, have a blessed day, have a blessed time forever. I guess. Tuonane.